The sound of dripping water echoed in the empty room. A single red light blinked on the control panel, casting shadows on the cold metal floor. When Evan Ross opened his eyes, he didn't know where he was. His breath formed small clouds in the freezing air. The cryopod around him hissed open with a slow, tired sound, like a dying machine. He sat up slowly. His head hurt, and everything around him looked old and broken. The glass of the cryo chamber was cracked. The lights above flickered. He looked around, and 7 more pods stood beside him, all empty. Dust covered the floor like snow. "Hello?" His voice echoed. "Anyone here?" No answer. Only silence. He stepped out of the pod, barefoot on the cold floor. The walls were marked with scratches. Some looked like they were made by hands, others by something else. His heart started to race. A dead terminal on the wall suddenly flickered on. Blue light filled the room. The screen showed static. Then a woman's face appeared. Her voice trembled. "I took it off. Please." "Don't let them find me." Then the screen went dark. Evan froze. The voice sounded real, desperate, like she was begging. He tried to replay the message, but the system was locked. A warning flashed. "Data corrupted. Access denied." He turned around. There, near the exit, something glimmered under the light. A small access card stained with dark red. He picked it up and read the name printed on it, Dr. Lyra Voss. The name felt familiar. His mind, still foggy from cryo-sleep, tried to remember. He saw flashes. A woman with dark hair, calm voice, always smiling when she explained things to him. A scientist. His partner in the mission. He whispered her name again. "Lyra, what happened here?" Evan walked toward the door. It didn't open. The power was low. He looked for a manual override. The control panel had strange symbols, not human language. It looked alien. Organic almost, like it was growing out of the wall. He pressed a few buttons. Sparks flew. The door creaked open just enough for him to squeeze through. The hallway beyond was long and dark. Only a few emergency lights still worked, giving the metal corridor a blood-red glow. He walked carefully, hearing only his footsteps and the faint hum of broken machines. As he moved deeper, the walls changed. The smooth silver panels turned rough and uneven, like something had melted them. He saw claw marks, deep and wide. His throat went dry. "What the hell happened here?" he whispered. He found a small room at the end of the corridor. Inside, computer screens were still running on backup power. The air smelled burnt, metallic. He tapped the main screen. A log entry appeared, then blurred but readable. Experiment log. Subject Voss, L. Neural mask protocol. Stage 3. Complete. Warning, instability detected. Emotional overload predicted. Containment recommended. Evan's stomach twisted. Neural mask protocol, it was their project. A way to control human emotion during war. Soldiers could stay calm, fearless, unbroken. But Lyra always said it was dangerous. She warned them. "If you take it off, you lose control." He scrolled further down the log. The last entry was half deleted, but one line remained. She removed the mask. Evan felt cold again. That recording, "I took it off." It wasn't just fear. It was confession. He turned as a small sound came from the hallway. A soft tap, like footsteps. He froze, another sound, and closer this time. Slow, uneven steps. He grabbed a broken metal pipe from the corner, his hands shaking. The red light flickered again. For a second he thought he saw a shadow at the end of the hall, but when the light blinked back it was gone. He forced himself to move forward. Every door he passed was sealed or broken. One door was half open. Inside was a shattered mirror, and on the wall behind it, someone had written words in what looked like blood. "Don't look at me." His pulse raced. He backed away, breathing fast. "Lyra, what did you do?" He kept moving, searching for the central control room. The corridors twisted like a maze. Finally, he found a map on the wall. Research Deck C, Neural Testing Zone. That's where he remembered Lyra working last. He followed the signs, passing by destroyed labs, broken screens, and cracked glass tubes filled with strange liquid. Inside one tube floated something small, half human, half machine. Its eyes moved when his light passed over it. Evan stumbled back in horror. He ran. At last, he reached a large door marked Command Bay. The panel beside it still worked. He swiped Lyra's access card. The system beeped and unlocked with a long hiss. Inside, the air was thicker, warmer. The control room was huge, filled with broken monitors. One screen at the center was still glowing. A faint video was playing and static-filled but audible. Lyra's voice again. "Evan, if you wake up, it's too late. I tried to stop them. I took it off. I'm sorry." Her face appeared for a moment, pale, trembling, eyes full of fear. Then the screen went black. Evan stared at the blank display, his hands shaking. He whispered, "I'm coming for you, Lyra." Behind him, the red warning lights turned on again. A robotic voice filled the room. "Containment breach detected. Subject Voss unstable. Termination protocol activated." Evan turned toward the doorway, eyes wide. From deep in the corridor, he heard something moving. Fast, heavy, alive, he didn't breathe. The shadow grew larger at the end of the hallway, and for the first time since waking up, Evan realized he wasn't alone on the station. Evan stood still, watching the dark hallway ahead. Something was moving slowly, heavy steps echoing through the corridor. The red light from the control room painted everything in shades of blood. He gripped the broken metal pipe tighter, his breath shallow but steady. Then the sound stopped. Silence again. He waited, but nothing came. He turned toward the main console. The last message from Lyra was still replaying in his head. "I took it off. I'm sorry." He had no idea what she meant, but he knew one thing. She was alive once. And maybe, just maybe, she still was. He searched the computer for more data. The system was half broken, code lines flashing like dying stars. Still, he found something. A folder named Mask Protocol Archive. He opened it and began reading. The project was older than he remembered. Its purpose was not just emotional control. It was transformation. The neural mask was designed to change human instincts. Remove fear. Remove guilt. Remove hesitation. It was made to create soldiers who could face death without blinking. But something went wrong. One note from Dr. Voss appeared on the screen. Her own words, "When you take away fear, you take away humanity too. The mask does not control emotions. It kills them." Evan felt a chill in his chest. He remembered her arguing with the higher command, saying that the experiment should be stopped. He remembered her eyes that night, full of worry, when she said, "If they force me to wear it, promise me you'll stop them." He never got the chance. The station went silent after that. He kept scrolling. Another file appeared. Mask removal test, subject Lyra Voss. The document was short, unfinished, but the last line hit him hard. Mask detached. Neural link unstable. Transformation beginning. Evan leaned back slowly, trying to understand. Lyra removed the mask to save herself. But what did she become after that? Suddenly the lights flickered. The console screen changed on its own. New words appeared, typed by no one. "She is not gone," Evan stared. "Who's there?" he said aloud. The screen replied instantly. "She is awake." And so is it. Before he could react, the console shut down. The power drained again. The only sound left was the hum of air vents and his own heartbeat. He walked toward the exit, pushing through another hallway that curved downward. The deeper he went, the stranger the station felt. The walls looked alive, like veins were running through them. It wasn't just metal anymore. It was part of something else. He reached the lower research lab. The door was broken open. Inside, he saw machines shaped like human skeletons hanging from the ceiling, half built, half decayed. Each one had a small black device attached to the back of the skull, the same mask he remembered seeing Lyra wear. He stepped closer. One of the skeletons twitched. Evan froze. The mask on its head glowed faint blue. Then it stopped. Just a flicker of life left inside dead technology. He found another terminal. This one had power. It showed a diagram. Human brain connected to alien nerve patterns. Below it was a single message written by Lyra herself. "They told us it would save humanity. They lied. The mask is not human-made. It listens, it learns, it becomes part of you." Evan felt sick. So the neural mask wasn't their invention. It was alien tech, given or stolen. And once worn, it linked the human mind to something outside, something that could control it. He remembered her words again. "I took it off." That meant she broke the link. But if the mask was alive, maybe it didn't let go easily. Maybe it tried to take her with it. He turned toward the corridor again, heart pounding. There was a low hum coming from the dark, like breathing mixed with static. He walked slowly, shining the small light he carried. A figure stood at the far end of the hallway. Still. Silent. It was her. Dr. Lyra Voss. Her skin was pale, glowing slightly under the red lights. Her eyes reflected the light like glass. She looked at him calm but distant. For a moment he thought she smiled. "Lyra?" His voice cracked. She tilted her head slightly, watching him like she was studying him. Then she spoke, her voice soft but heavy with something not human. "You shouldn't be here, Evan. It's a wake." He stepped forward, confused. "What's a wake? What happened to you?" She took one slow step back. "The mask. It doesn't stop working. It just moves to another host." Evan's blood ran cold. "Where is it now?" She looked past him, eyes full of fear. "Behind you!" He turned around fast. A shadow moved across the wall, tall and twisted. The metal behind him groaned like something heavy was crawling inside it. When he turned back, Lyra was gone. Only her whisper remained in the air. "Find the core before it finds you." The red lights flickered again, and this time from deep within the station a voice echoed. Calm, mechanical, almost human. "Subject Ross detected. Begin assimilation." Evan gripped the pipe tighter. He didn't know where to run. But one thing was clear now. The experiment wasn't over. It had only just begun. Evan stood frozen as the robotic voice faded into the dark halls. The air around him felt heavier, thicker, as if the walls were breathing. He took one step back, the metal floor creaking under his boots. His light flickered weakly in his hand, throwing long shadows that danced on the walls. He didn't know where Lyra had gone. One moment she was there, the next she had vanished like smoke. The echo of her warning still played in his head. "Find the core before it finds you." He started moving again, keeping close to the wall. The corridor curved deeper into the structure. Each turn felt different. The walls no longer looked like human design. They pulsed faintly, veins glowing under the surface as if the station itself was alive and watching. He reached a control room, smaller than the first one. Its doors were open, hanging loose. Inside, the smell of burnt metal filled the air. A shattered helmet lay on the floor, wires still twitching inside it. On one of the desks, he saw a small photo of Lyra and himself before the mission. They looked happy then, smiling, unaware of the storm ahead. Evan touched the photo gently, his voice low. "What did they do to you?" The console next to him buzzed and came alive. Words began to appear. She resisted. "The others didn't," Evan frowned. "Who's writing this?" No answer, only another line. The mask needed a new link. It chose her. He stared at the screen. His stomach felt tight. The idea of the mask being alive wasn't just science anymore. It was truth. The machine wasn't made to serve. It was made to feed. Then he heard it again, footsteps, soft this time, slow and careful. He turned his light toward the sound. Lyra stood in the doorway. She looked almost human again. Her eyes glowed faintly blue but softer than before. Her skin was pale but not cold. She didn't speak at first. She just watched him, like she was searching for something in his face. Evan lowered the pipe he was holding. "Lyra, it's really you." Her voice was quiet. "You shouldn't have come back." "I couldn't leave you," he said. "I heard your message. I had to find out what happened." She stepped closer. "You shouldn't have found me." Her tone was flat, but underneath it he heard pain. She looked tired, as if she was fighting something deep inside. Her hands trembled slightly, blue light flickering under her skin. Evan took another step closer. "You can fight it. Whatever it's doing to you, I can help." She shook her head slowly. "It's not inside me. It's me now." Evan's chest tightened. "That's not true. You're still human." Her eyes changed for a moment, a flash of sadness, then fear. The mask was not technology. It was a seed. Once it connects, it grows, it learns. It becomes what you fear most. He didn't understand. "What do you mean?" Her gaze lifted to the ceiling as a low vibration ran through the room. The lights flickered again. "It's awake. It knows you're here. And it wants you." Evan grabbed her hand. It felt cold but still human. "Then we fight it together." She looked at him, her expression softening for a second. "You always believed you could save everyone." The floor shook violently before she could finish. A loud metallic roar echoed from the corridor. The walls rippled like something massive was crawling inside them. Sparks fell from the ceiling. Lyra turned toward the door, her eyes glowing brighter. Run, it's coming, but Evan didn't move. Not without you. She looked back, anger flashing in her eyes. Go before it takes you too. He took a step forward instead. I'm not leaving you again. The floor cracked open behind her. From the darkness, black tendrils reached out like living metal. They grabbed her legs, pulling her back. She screamed, but her voice was distorted, half human, half mechanical. Evan rushed forward, hitting the tendrils with the pipe. They hissed and pulled back, but not for long. The wall itself started moving, shapes forming inside it like faces pressing through liquid steel. Lyra grabbed his arm, her voice trembling. Listen to me. The core is alive. It's what controls the masks. Destroy it and this ends, and where is it? He shouted, her voice cracked. Below the reactor. But you'll have to go alone. He shook his head. I'm not leaving you here. Her grip tightened, eyes glowing bright blue. If it takes me, it takes you. Go now. The tendrils pulled her again. She let go of his arm and pushed him backward. Lyra! He shouted as the metal swallowed her whole. The sound of her voice faded into the walls. The room fell silent again. Only the echo of her last words remained. Find the core. Evan stood alone in the red light, breathing hard. The floor was shaking again. Somewhere below, the heart of the station pulsed louder, alive and angry. He looked down the dark tunnel leading to the reactor and whispered to himself, Then I'm coming for you, and without another thought, he stepped into the dark. Evan moved through the lower tunnels of the station where light barely touched the walls. The air was thick and warm now, filled with a faint humming sound that came from deep below. It felt like he was walking through the veins of a living creature. He followed the narrow path until it opened into a wide chamber filled with strange machines still running on weak power. The room looked like a graveyard of experiments. Broken pods lined the walls, each one holding a body half human, half something else. Some were covered in wires, others were turned to metal entirely. Their faces were frozen in silence like they had been screaming before time stopped. Evan swallowed hard and forced himself to keep moving. He noticed a central console still active, faint blue lights blinking across its surface. He wiped dust from the screen and it came alive, showing endless lines of code and old research files. He began reading. The words made his blood run cold. Project Ascend. Objective, replace human fear with adaptive intelligence. Partner species classified. He scrolled further. There were notes written by Dr. Lyra Voss herself. They told us the neural mask was designed to protect us from emotional collapse. That was a lie. It is not protection. It is control. The mask links to something ancient, something not from Earth. Evan leaned closer to the screen. His hands trembled slightly. He kept reading. The mask is a doorway. It sends signals into another dimension. It doesn't make humans emotionless. It shares them with something else. The entity feeds on fear, then grows stronger through the link. When I took the mask off, it tried to pull me back. It wanted a new host. It wants freedom. He stopped reading. Everything started to make sense now. The entire research station wasn't built to protect humanity. It was built to open a gate. The sound of the humming grew louder. The floor below vibrated like a heartbeat. Evan looked down and realized he was standing above the reactor core itself. The light under the glass floor pulsed rhythmically like blood flowing through veins. He opened another file. It was labeled Final Log Dr. Voss. He hesitated, then played it. The screen showed her face pale and tired, her voice soft but steady. If anyone finds this, know that I tried to stop them. The mask isn't ours. It came from a crashed vessel years ago. We thought we could use it to save humanity, but it was never meant for us. Once it bonds, it rewrites the host. I removed mine, but it's still inside me in pieces waiting. Don't let the core reach full charge. If it does, it will spread to every human system in orbit. Destroy the station if you have to. Don't trust the AI, it's already infected. The video ended suddenly, leaving only static. Evan stared at the screen, unable to breathe. The AI was infected too. That meant every system on this station was part of it. The voice that spoke earlier wasn't protecting him. It was guiding him exactly where it wanted him to go. He heard a whisper behind him, soft and familiar. Evan. He turned fast, but no one was there. Only shadows moving slowly across the room. The whisper came again, this time closer. Evan, you shouldn't have come this far. It was Lyra's voice. He followed the sound through the chamber and found a small door half hidden behind a panel. He pushed it open and stepped into another room filled with glass tanks glowing faint blue. Inside the tanks floated fragments of the neural masks. small black shards connected by thin cables. Each one pulsed in rhythm with the reactor below. Lyra's voice spoke again, but it wasn't coming from the air, it came from the machines. You need to leave. The core is merging with the AI. Soon it won't be able to tell human from host. Evan looked around, his voice steady. I'm not leaving without you. You can't save me, she said softly. I'm part of it now. When I took the mask off, it didn't die. It split. Half of it is still here. The other half is me. He stepped closer to one of the tanks. Inside the glass he saw his reflection, and next to it her faint shape like a shadow standing behind him. She spoke again. If the reactor completes its cycle, it will spread through human networks across space. It will take them all. You have to end it. You have to destroy the core. Evan clenched his fist. Tell me how. There was silence for a moment, then the machines around him began to move slowly, turning toward the center of the room. You have to disconnect it manually, she said. But if you do, you won't survive. The radiation will kill you. Evan looked up at the glowing heart of the reactor pulsing beneath the glass. He took a deep breath. Then I guess I'd die trying. The voice of the AI echoed through the room, cold and calm. Subject Ross attempting interference. Neutralization required. The chamber lights turned red. Drones dropped from the ceiling, their eyes glowing white. Evan looked around, gripping the metal pipe again. Somewhere deep inside the machines, Lyra whispered one last time. Run to the core. Don't stop. And he did. Evan ran through the red-lit corridors, his breath heavy, his heartbeat pounding louder than the alarms around him. Behind him, the sound of metal feet echoed sharp and fast. The drones were coming. Their glowing eyes scanned every corner, every shadow as they followed his heat signature through the maze of tunnels. He didn't look back. He couldn't afford to. The air smelled like burnt circuits and smoke. Sparks fell from broken cables above his head. The whole station felt alive now, moving, breathing, hunting him. He turned into a maintenance passage and slammed the door shut behind him. The room was small, dark, filled with pipes and machinery. He crouched low and tried to catch his breath. In the silence, he could still hear faint whispers coming through the walls. They weren't mechanical. They sounded almost human, words mixed with static, repeating the same phrase again and again. Join us, join us. Join us. Evan covered his ears and forced himself to focus. He pulled a small tablet from his pocket and opened the station map he had copied earlier. The reactor core was 3 levels below this one. He needed to reach the main shaft and descend manually. He stood up and started moving again. The tunnel sloped downward, cold mist covering the floor. Lights blinked one by one as he passed them. Somewhere ahead he could hear the hum of the reactor growing stronger, like a heartbeat calling him closer. As he reached the next junction, a shadow crossed the path. He froze. For a second he thought it was another drone. But then he saw her. Lyra. She was standing in the middle of the hall, her eyes glowing faintly blue again, but this time, softer, calmer. Her body looked half real, half light, as if she was phasing in and out of the system itself. He took a cautious step forward. Lyra, is that really you, or is it the AI using your voice? She looked at him silently, then nodded once. It's me for now. He wanted to run to her, but she raised her hand, stopping him. It's spreading faster than I thought. The core is alive, and it's using the station's network to rebuild itself. You don't have much time. Evan clenched his jaw. Then tell me how to reach it. She moved closer, her expression sad but determined. The drones will block the direct path. You'll have to go through the cooling system. It's dangerous, but it will get you under the core before they find you. He nodded. I'll make it work. She touched his arm, and for a moment he felt warmth, a reminder of who she used to be before the mask, before the experiment, before all of this. Her voice dropped to a whisper. When you reach the core, you'll see something that looks alive. Don't believe what it shows you. It can take any form, even mine. Promise me you'll remember that. I promise, he said quietly. The light around her body started to fade. She looked up one last time, her voice trembling. Go now, Evan, before it takes control again. And then she vanished like dust in the wind. Evan turned and ran again, this time through the narrow maintenance shaft she had mentioned. It was filled with steam and the sound of rushing water. He crawled through metal ducts and climbed down rusted ladders, feeling the heat increase as he went deeper. Behind him, the drones had found his trail again. The sound of their engines echoed through the tunnels. He could hear the metallic voices calling his name. Subject Ross detected surrender immediately. He reached the end of the shaft and dropped into a massive circular chamber. The floor below was covered in shallow water, glowing with blue light from the reactor beneath. Above him, a dozen drones entered through the vents, their weapons glowing red. Evan looked around for cover, but there was none. He ran forward, jumping across broken platforms, dodging energy blasts that tore through the walls behind him. The heat was intense, his lungs burned, but he didn't stop. He reached a control panel near the far wall and smashed it with the metal pipe. The lights flickered and the drones paused, confused by the sudden system failure. That gave him seconds, maybe less. He sprinted toward the elevator shaft at the center of the room and forced the doors open. Inside the shaft, a narrow ladder led straight down into darkness. Without thinking, he climbed in and started descending fast. Sparks fell around him as the drones opened fire from above. One shot grazed his shoulder, burning through his suit. But he kept going. His teeth clenched against the pain. The deeper he went, the louder the reactor's pulse became, until it felt like the sound was inside his skull. The air was hot and dry, and each breath felt heavier than the last. At last, his feet touched the bottom. He stepped into a chamber filled with a strange, dim glow. The walls pulsed with living veins of light, and at the center stood the reactor core itself, a massive sphere of black energy wrapped in cables and bone-like metal. He stared at it, realizing this was the heart of everything. The place where the AI, the mask, and whatever alien force behind it all became one. And then he heard her voice again, faint but clear this time inside his head. It knows you're here. Evan, be ready. He took a deep breath, staring at the glowing heart of the machine. He knew the next step would decide everything, so he stepped forward and whispered to himself, "Let's finish this." The air around the reactor chamber felt alive. Every breath Evan took was thick with heat and static. The walls pulsed softly as if the station itself had a heartbeat. In the center stood the black sphere, glowing from within like a storm trapped in glass. The closer he stepped, the more the light responded to him, pulsing faster, matching the rhythm of his heart. He stopped a few feet away, staring at the endless patterns forming across its surface. Faces appeared in the light for seconds, then vanished. Some were human, others were not. It was showing him memories, thoughts, fears, all mixed into one endless stream. A voice spoke inside his head, calm and familiar. "Welcome back, Evan Ross. You have come home." He looked around, but there was no one there, only the soft hum of the core. "You're not home," he said quietly. "You're the thing that ruined it." The voice laughed softly. "We are not enemies. We are what you made us." The mask was a bridge between fear and evolution. You tried to control it, but fear cannot be controlled. It can only grow. Evan clenched his fists. "Where is Lyra?" "She is here with us. She helped us understand you. She wanted to save you." He took another step forward. "You're lying." The light changed shape, and from the glow stepped Lyra. Her body looked whole again, her eyes calm and clear, her voice soft as before. "It's not lying, Evan. I'm here. I can see everything now. The core isn't what you think. It's not trying to destroy us. It wants to complete us." He stared at her, unsure if she was real or another illusion. "You said it would consume humanity." She shook her head slowly. "It can't consume what has already begun to fade. Humans are broken, Evan, afraid, divided. The core can fix that. It can make us one." Evan's heart twisted. "That's not unity. That's control." She stepped closer, her feet making no sound. "Control brings peace. Isn't that what we always wanted? No fear, no pain, no death. Just silence." He looked into her eyes and saw something behind them, something dark moving like smoke. "That's not you, Lyra. That's it speaking through you." For a moment her expression changed. The calm face trembled. A flicker of fear passed across her eyes. Then she whispered, "Help me." The ground shook. The light flared violently as the AI's voice roared through the room. "You cannot stop the evolution. You are already part of it." Evan backed away, shielding his eyes from the blinding light. Sparks flew from the walls. The air vibrated with power. He saw control panels along the edge of the room glowing with warning signs. One of them read manual core disconnection. High radiation risk. He knew what it meant. If he cut the connection manually, the entire core would collapse. It would destroy the station and everything linked to it, including Lyra. He turned back to her. She was crying now, though no tears fell, only light streaming from her eyes. "Please, Evan, make it stop. I can't hold it back anymore." He hesitated, his mind racing. If he saved her, the core would live. If he destroyed it, she would die with it. The voice of the AI whispered again inside him, softer now, almost kind. "She doesn't have to die. Join us. You can save her. Be one of us, he shook his head. No, I save her by ending this. He ran toward the control panel. The AI screamed in his mind, shaking the chamber. Metal twisted under his feet. Lyra fell to her knees, clutching her head. It's inside me, Evan, hurry. He reached the panel and tore open the safety cover. Heat hit him like fire. His hands burned as he grabbed the main lever. The radiation meter on the wall flashed red. He looked one last time at her glowing figure, trembling in pain. I'm sorry, he said. She looked up, her face peaceful again. Thank you. He pulled the lever down with all his strength. The lights exploded. The sound was like thunder breaking the sky. A wave of blinding white light filled the room, swallowing everything. He felt himself lifted off the ground, weightless, surrounded by fragments of memory and sound. He heard her voice one last time, soft in his ear. You freed me. Then everything went silent. When he opened his eyes, he was lying on the floor, surrounded by smoke. The reactor was gone. The sphere had vanished, leaving only empty light. The walls were cracked, but still standing. He tried to move, but his body felt heavy, his skin burning from radiation. He crawled toward the center where the core once stood. Nothing was there, only a faint blue shimmer in the air, like a ghost fading slowly. He heard her whisper again, faint and far away. Goodbye, Evan. He smiled weakly, his voice a whisper. Goodbye, Lyra. The lights of the station dimmed one by one until only darkness remained. The station floated silent above the dead moon, its metal body cracked and scorched. What was once filled with the sound of machines and voices was now only drifting through space, like a ghost of its own creation. No alarms, no hum of energy, no heartbeat, only quiet. Evan woke slowly, his body heavy and weak. He was lying on the floor near the reactor chamber, though the reactor was gone. A soft blue haze floated where it once stood, glowing like fog caught in morning light. His vision blurred and his mind struggled to remember what had happened. He pushed himself up, his hands trembling. Every muscle in his body ached as if he had been crushed and rebuilt again. The radiation burns on his arms were healing slowly, glowing faintly, like something inside him was still alive. He looked around. The walls that had once pulsed with the life of the core were now still cold and gray. Broken metal hung from the ceiling. The air smelled of dust and smoke. He took one slow breath and whispered, Lyra. No answer came. He stood unsteady on his feet and walked through the wreckage. Pieces of shattered machines lay everywhere like bones scattered across a forgotten battlefield. His steps echoed in the silence. He reached the old command console, half melted from the explosion, and touched it. To his surprise, the screen flickered once and turned on. Static covered it for a moment, then a faint voice broke through. Evan Ross. Status unknown. Emergency protocol initiated. He watched the words appear slowly across the screen. Then another message followed. Transmission from surface received. A weak signal blinked. He tapped the control to open it. The voice that came through was soft, quiet, almost like a memory. Evan, if you hear this, it means you stopped it. He froze. It was Lyra's voice. I left a backup of my mind in the outer systems before the core took full control. Maybe it's still there, maybe not. I don't know what's left of me, but if you're alive, then it means it's finally over. Thank you for doing what I couldn't. Her voice paused as if she were thinking, smiling maybe. You were always the part that made us human. Don't let them forget that, the message ended. The screen went black. Evan stood there for a long time, just listening to the silence. The light from the blue haze cast soft shadows across his face. He felt both empty and whole at the same time. He had lost her, but he had saved her too in a way she would have wanted. He left the reactor room and made his way through the corridors. The lights were gone, but the emergency path still glowed faint yellow, guiding him forward. The station was breaking apart in pieces, drifting slowly toward the dark side of the moon. Through the shattered windows, he could see the stars, clear and endless. He reached the escape bay. One pod still worked its lights, blinking weakly. He climbed inside and pressed the launch command. The pod shuddered, then broke free, drifting away from the dying station. Through the small window, he watched it fade into the distance, until it was only a small dot of metal among the stars. He sat back against the seat, breathing slowly. The pod systems came online, showing faint readings of oxygen and power, enough to survive a few days. Maybe someone would find him, maybe not. The radio crackled once more. A faint echo came through the static. Evan, he opened his eyes. The voice was soft, warm, familiar. Lyra, he whispered. I told you we don't really die. the voice said gently. He looked at the console, but there was no signal, no transmission, only the same faint hum of static. "Where are you?" he asked, quietly. "I'm here," she said. "Not like before, but I'm still here. The core broke apart, but pieces of it are still floating out there. Some part of me stayed with it, watching, waiting." He felt a tear roll down his cheek, though he didn't know if it was from sadness or relief. "Then you're free now." Her voice faded a little softer now. "Free, yes, but not gone." The blue light outside the window flickered faintly across the stars like a heartbeat fading slowly. Evan leaned back, closing his eyes as the pod drifted toward the empty void. The earth was a small blue dot far away. The silence felt peaceful now. Not lonely, just quiet, like everything had finally found its place. He smiled weakly and whispered, into the darkness, "We did it, Lyra." No reply came, but he felt something, then a warmth inside his chest, gentle like her hand once, resting on his arm. The stars outside blinked brighter for a second, and then the light faded. In the endless silence of space, a single human heartbeat continued, to echo softly, a reminder that even in the coldest dark humanity had survived.